And now for our next news special report.
The land of the free, our republic, faces yet another critical moment. The FBI Director Chris Wray has just sounded the alarm, urging Americans to be vigilant. Why? Because of the mounting tensions between Israel and the Palestinians, driven by a recent horrific attack by Hamas. But here's the thing. It's not just an overseas issue. The fallout could very well be at our doorsteps. If you're wondering how this might affect you and your family, stay with me for this special report and don't touch that mouse. You'll want to catch my final thought on why this, above all, matters to every American. America stands on the precipice, folks. An urgent call to arms echoes across the nation, not from a battlefield afar, but from within our own borders. FBI Director Chris Wray's stark warning isn't just another piece of news, it's a clarion call for every American citizen. The stakes, higher than ever. Our republic, known for its unyielding stand for freedom, faces a sinister challenge, and it's knocking on our very doorsteps. Watch.
We remain committed to continue confronting those threats, both here in the United States and overseas. In this heightened environment, there's no question we're seeing an increase in reported threats, and we've got to be on the lookout, especially for lone actors who may take inspiration from recent events to commit violence of their own. So I'd encourage you to stay vigilant, because as the first line of defense, protecting our communities, you're often the first to see the signs that someone may be mobilizing to violence. I'd also ask you to continue sharing any intelligence or observations you may have, and on our end, we're committed to doing the same so that together we can safeguard our communities.
Wray's words at the International Association of Chiefs of Police Conference weren't mere formalities. They were a rallying cry urging a united front against an evil we've fought for decades. Terrorism isn't a specter on distant shores. It's a real palpable threat to our neighborhoods, our cities, and our country. And this time, the menace has a name: Hamas. And now we're learning Iranians have been apprehended trying to cross the southern border. Watch.
According to U.S. Customs and Border Protection, 4 Iranians have been apprehended since the beginning of this month. That is 4. They're all considered to be special interest aliens. That's a term used to describe individuals coming from countries identified by the U.S. government as having conditions that promote or protect terrorism. Individuals may also have some suspicious travel patterns. And look at this. In the first 14 days of this fiscal year, over 30 Iranians were apprehended at the southern border, nearly 60 Syrians, 35 Pakistanis, more than 100 Russians, 285 Afghans, and nearly 2,000 Chinese migrants. Over the past 2 years, U.S. Border Patrol has encountered almost 73,000 special interest aliens, many of them from Middle Eastern countries. And just last week, CBP agents apprehended 2 Lebanese nationals in Eagle Pass, Texas. They were also considered to be special interest aliens. Lebanon, of course, home to Hezbollah. Guys.
The world watching horror as Hamas unleashed atrocities on Israeli soil earlier this month. The carnage left more than 1,300 Israelis dead, a blatant act of barbarism that rips at the very fabric of human decency. But this isn't just Israel's fight, it's ours too. The FBI director didn't mince words. The surge in reports post-Hamas call for a day of jihad isn't fear-mongering, it's a reality check. A reminder that the front lines have shifted. They're not just in the war-torn streets of distant countries, they're potentially at the local grocery store, the neighborhood park, or the city subway. Terrorism, folks, doesn't discriminate. It doesn't pass over you for your beliefs, your stature, or your location. Wray's call for vigilance is as much a defense strategy as it is a plea for awareness. The lone actors he referenced aren't nameless, faceless entities from a foreign land. They could be individuals deeply embedded in our communities, radicalized not in desolate training camps abroad, but behind computer screens in the comfort of American homes. But it's not just about being watchful, it's about action, response, and resilience. Wray's commitment to stamping out terrorism isn't a standalone effort. It's a partnership, a collaboration between the FBI, local law enforcement, and the most critical element, you, the American citizen. And this isn't just about a far-off conflict spilling over into our streets. It's a battle against an ideology that strikes at the heart of our values. Anti-Semitism or any form of violent extremism has no place in our society, not now, not ever. The recent events are a grim reminder that the hate that fuels such terror can permeate borders transcending geography. It's a disease of the mind that can inflict the unsuspecting, turning neighbors into adversaries and citizens into combatants. As we grapple with this stark reality, let's pivot for a moment. In uncertain times like these, it's not just our physical safety at stake, but our financial security as well. And here is where Noble Gold Investments comes into play. Think of it like this: just as we shore up our defenses against physical threats, we must safeguard our economic future against potential financial crises. Noble Gold Investments is a fortress for your finances, a bastion against the unpredictable market storms. Their team doesn't just transact, they guide, educate, and secure your financial path with the same dedication our law enforcement applies to protect our streets. Right now, they're offering a solid shield in the form of a free 5-ounce silver America the Beautiful bullion coin with qualified accounts. Visit nextnewsgold.com and fortify your financial front just as steadfastly as we guard our homes, because security transcends all aspects of our lives. Now let's delve deeper into the quagmire that we're facing. This threat isn't a random occurrence. It's a calculated move by Hamas, an organization emboldened by recent successes and fueled by an ideology that knows no compassion and no remorse. Their call for a day of jihad is not a mere slogan. It's a declaration of intent, a blueprint for chaos meant to ripple across continents, reaching even into our own cities and towns. The situation is compounded by alarming developments at home. U.S. cities, including the Big Apple itself, are on high alert. Demonstrations, while the hallmark of our cherished freedom of speech, bear the risk of turning into hotbeds for radicalization and violence, especially when fueled by international conflicts. The line between passionate protest and violent riot is thin, and once crossed can plunge our communities into chaos. Wray's message, while dire, isn't without a foundation of hope and resolve. The FBI's commitment to sharing intelligence and working hand in hand with local law enforcement is a beacon in these dark times, but they can't do it alone. Vigilance, awareness, and action start at the ground level with us. Every citizen serves as a sentinel, every community a bulwark against the forces that seek to harm and destabilize. Moreover, the challenges don't end with potential threats within our borders. Our southern frontier is a hot topic now more than ever. Record numbers of illegal crossings have been reported, and it's not just the volume that's a concern. Individuals on terror watch lists, yes, you heard that right, have been intercepted trying to enter the U.S. This revelation, confirmed by none other than John Kirby, coordinator for strategic communications at the National Security Council, isn't just troubling, it's an alarm bell. Watch.
Let me ask you about the southern border, because obviously the chaos there, the openness, you can argue about that, but I mean, record numbers of people showing up there, record numbers of people who are either on a terror list or associated with somebody who is a family member, an associate. We're at record numbers for those. How worried are you, as somebody who is, your job is national security, that we have an issue there with somebody who would be a bad actor, a copycat, or a terrorist cell?
We're concerned about the potential spillover from the war against Hamas in terms of domestic security. That's why days ago, I mean, within a day or two of the attacks, the president ordered the team, the national security team and the Department of Homeland Security to work with state and local authorities to make sure that we have the intel picture in place to be able to identify and potentially disrupt any domestic terror threat as a result of what's going on against Hamas. And I will tell you that even as we were speaking here this morning, we simply don't have any specific credible threat to speak to, but that doesn't mean we're not looking very, very hard.
Our southern border isn't just a geographical boundary. It's a front line in our ongoing battle for national security. The administration's current stance, or lack thereof, on this crisis doesn't just undermine our safety, it makes a mockery of the countless men and women in uniform patrolling our borders, striving to keep us safe. As Wray's speech underscored, the battle we're waging isn't confined to one front. It's a multifaceted war where every breach, be it radicalized individual, an illegal crossing, or terror watchlist suspect, represents a potential crack in our republic's armor. And these cracks that our adversaries are, well, they aim to exploit. The situation is grave, yes, but it's not all lost. Our resolve remains unshaken, our determination unwavering. We're Americans, after all. We don't cower in fear. We stand tall in the face of adversity. But standing tall means standing together, united in our resolve to protect our nation, our communities, our families as well. The days ahead will test us. Of that, there's no doubt. But it's a test we must face with the tenacity and grit that define us as Americans. For in our unity lies our strength, in our vigilance and our safety, and in our resilience, our victory. The FBI's call to arms isn't just a counsel of despair, but a trumpet of mobilization. For in this war against terror, against hatred, against extremism, Every single one of us is a soldier, and it's a war we must win, and we will, because the alternative, my friends, is simply unthinkable. The clock is ticking as we wrap up tonight, and here's the takeaway. The international conflicts of today are not isolated events. They ripple through our global community right to our front doors. Whether it's the heartbreaking scenes in Israel or the threats from radical elements, the peace and security of our republic are at stake. It's a reminder that in this interconnected world, what happens thousands of miles away can have a direct impact on us, our families, and our way of life. We owe it to ourselves and the future generations to stay informed, vigilant, and proactive. The world might be complicated, but our duty is simple. Protect our homeland. Remember, it's not about fear, it's about preparedness. Let's come together, stand tall, and ensure our republic remains the beacon of hope and security it's always been. Congratulations, you made it to the end of the video. Now keep up your quest for truth with this next news report. And if you found our channel enlightening, join the millions who agree with you. Tap subscribe. Thank you for watching the Next News Network.